So, first of all, to start this discussion, I'd like to talk about a very nerdy, very geeky study of the Serengeti ecosystem from back in the 80s. Um, now, this is a very old study. Almost all of the grazing gurus could have looked at the study if they had cared to. Not Vosan, maybe. So this study, what it did was it's interesting in that it looked at the Serengeti ecosystem, and it went around and it made exclosures in different parts of the ecosystem. And then when the wild grazers, the wildebeest, the zebras, the buffalo, the elephants, when they had grazed it, they would compare the exclosure to the grazed ecosystem with clipping, right? So they know for sure production-wise what happened. And it's pretty interesting in that on average, the grazed plots were twice as productive as the excluded plots. And so, wow, that's pretty interesting. And some of the grazed plots were 6 times more productive than the exclosed plots. So grazing is it's a fundamental, it's a productivity enhancing endeavor, right? The ecosystem, these ecosystems, and when I say these, I mean all ecosystems, evolved with grazing, and it's an important component. And when it doesn't happen, the plants don't know what to do with themselves, really, and so they don't produce as well. So anyway, the average is twice as much. Some of them are 6 times more, right? Okay, now, there are parts of the Serengeti ecosystem that are grazed for only a few minutes or a few hours of the year. The grass gets as tall as it possibly can get, and then it's grazed down to the ground. There are a few places, I mean, I don't know exactly, but let's say that is happening 10% or 15% of the time. So just right there, that's different than what some of the grazing gurus would say. So this is just that's just the facts that we have. There is no ecosystem that we can point to where they are doing that all the time. And it's some of these gurus are lucky that there is any, because they don't seem to have looked for it out in the wild, so to speak, before they recommended it. So anyway, back to this study, the interesting or concerning, I don't know, the interesting aspect of that is that not only is there not a lot of, there's 10% or 15%, it's a significant amount, but not all of the ecosystem is managed like that, where the grass grows as tall as it can, and then it's grazed down to the ground. But there is some. And then the interesting thing is that when you compare the grazed areas that are grazed like that to the ungrazed areas, to the exclosed areas, there is no production advantage with grazing, right? So basically, if that is what your guru is recommending, they are they are steering you towards the least productive part of the Serengeti grazing ecosystem, um, which is interesting. It's not less productive than the worst in the Serengeti. So in that way, it's still better than some, but it is the least productive part of the Serengeti ecosystem. Yeah, I'll let that sink in for a second.